Baltic Brand Talks, podcast about all things creative and trending. Hello everyone, you're listening to the Baltic Brand Talks podcast. I'm Lelde Dālmane, a strategist from WIT Consulting and co-host of this podcast. Today's episode is a deep dive with Mārtiņš Eihmanis, head of the marketing department at VIRŠI. I met Mārtiņš for the first time around 5 minutes before recording the episode, and what struck me the most during the interview was how easy it was to talk to Mārtiņš and how it didn't feel like we were strangers. And that's a very rare soft skill I admire in people. What's more, the content of our conversation was interesting and valuable, at least for me, and I hope for you too. We talk about different choices marketers need to make, whether it's choosing a brand core message, the next format of brand communication, or a brand ambassador for anyone, even remotely related to the brand image. This will be a valuable lesson. So, enough of me. Now, let's listen to the interview. So, Mārtiņš, I'm very glad that you could join me. We talked a bit earlier with the upcoming Baltic Brand Forum that we should catch up, and actually I'm very happy that we couldn't find time then for the shorter conversation, and now I have you for a longer conversation, which is amazing. And as always, we start with introduction. So could you please give a little bit of your background and how did you ended up in VIRŠI?
About myself, shortly, I got introduced to marketing, or I don't know, maybe I stumbled upon marketing 18 and something years ago when I was offered the assistant's position at the marketing agency with all the tiny, interesting and possible and impossible tasks that you can assign to assistant, right? So that's very fruitful and very interesting experience going in the world of marketing through back door, through the kitchen, seeing where all that magic is being brewed. And I grew in that environment for five and a half years, something like that. When I switched to the other side of a relationship at Bank Citadele, where I had a great opportunity to work with the brand American Express, credit card brand, for a bit more than 2 years. And then I moved on to two different financial companies before I got invited on VIRŠI team, which was great. Thank you, VIRŠI. Thank me for accepting the offer.
Yeah.
So it's been very great ride since then. And yeah.
For how long are you the part of the team?
So it's been 6 years. It will be 6 years. It will be 6 years at the 1st of December.
Yeah. And VIRŠI as a company also has had like this evolution. And how would you describe in your own words, what is VIRŠI all about for someone who doesn't know that?
In short elevator pitch or business card format, you would say that VIRŠI is fuel retailer, right?
Yeah.
But no, it's like, it was who we were at 95. We were a fuel retail startup, if you can say, and put it that way, which was found by the members who are still shareholders till this day. But now we have grown in many different business directions. We have added our convenience store network, which is one of the largest convenience store networks in the country, with more than 80 sales points and the best quality coffee and food you can get on the road. We have added, we have diversified our fuels, so not just classical fossil fuel, but also CNG and also electric charging and so on. We can talk about that later. We have added electricity to B2B a few years ago and 1 year ago to households, and now we're selling also natural gas to the businesses. So it's quite a spectrum of products and services we offer. So you can put it all together that we are energy provider at the point. So from fuel retailer to energy provider, that is how I would put VIRŠI in a short form.
I love it how like packed is this energy, like it's energy for your car, for yourself,
That's
with
correct.
the coffee and the food, and also for the house.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. And as you mentioned, you come from finance background. How does that help you in the field you are now in?
I don't know if it helps. Maybe when you work with finance and financial products, mostly they're boring or they're complicated or both.
Yeah.
So maybe that mindset, you can build communication around anything, that you can market anything. Even it doesn't matter how boring or complicated it is. Maybe that kind of mindset. But of course, I've learned much more in these companies. There has been a great ride for me and much of experience. For example, American Express, the brand I mentioned previously, that was great experience. How to see how international brand works in Latvia, how you have to operate with different guidelines, how to coordinate all the local activities with the office in London. That was experience. And then again, the company for finance, where I was working before VIRŠI. At that point, we had really amazing marketing team. Like amazing from point of view of a professional, the level of who we were as professionals and as human beings as well. And that was the point where I learned much about media planning, media buying. That was for all of our team, the point where we learned about social media, content creation, the aim of it, strategic direction of it, and measuring, of course, all the things you do on social media. So yeah, not only experience from a financial product point of view, but experience as such.
Oh, that's nice to hear. And we also touched on this packed energy topic that you have. You have the fuel, the stores, the services, the electricity. These are quite separate things if you look at them on their own, but your task is to tie them together in communication. How do you approach that?
Yeah, those businesses I mentioned previously, and we can maybe talk about them wider, but not today. We have to, if we look not from business cards, but from brand's perspective, how we put that all together. Then there was a point for VIRŠI where the company had grown into the size where first stations were opened in Riga. First large type stations were opened close to Riga, for example, Salaspils, and afterwards Mārupe as well. So at that point, it happened that the company VIRŠI crossed its path with a new advertising company, which till this day is our strategic and one of creative agencies weekend. And they built a really strong and nice platform, which works really great till this day. That is, VIRŠI is brand or company that doesn't sell just fuel. It sells power. And that it's up to you how you translate that power, right? And it sells that power to those who are willing to do, not just anyone, but if you're willing to do, hey, here's a fuel for you. And you can translate that fuel into your works afterwards. So this platform has been really, I could even say, fruitful for VIRŠI. And now when we are adding all these business directions we were talking about, it just translates into energy. So VIRŠI is providing energy for those who are willing to do, or doers, or darītāji, as we say in Latvian. That's the way how we have managed to tie together all these really different business directions under marketing umbrella, because to talk about energy directions, it's a bit dry. You have to have something interesting in it.
But for me, as someone on the outside of it, as a brand consumer, I think that translates really well. Good job done there. And you have one of the most sticky jingles.
Yeah.
This VIRŠI, turpinām darīt.
Yes, thank you, VIRŠI marketing team.
Yeah, how that came around?
That came around when we crossed our path with Inters Būsulis. That's a bit different, actually, question, and I could talk about it lots and lots, not just one for 1 hour. But then it also raises a question how to why we came across Inters Būsulis and how we started this collaboration or friendship.
Mm.
And from my previous experience from previous with previous brands I worked with was that you have to take into an account a few things when you're going into collaboration with somebody.
Yeah.
We will get to the jingle. Sorry, it's a bit long.
No, give the intro.
Yeah, and then in this case, you have to consider the gains, risks, costs if you're getting in collaboration with some brand. And Ambassador is a brand.
Exactly.
It's just more unpredictable because it's human.
Yep.
So it's much safer if somebody wants to collaborate with somebody to collaborate with brand, but also if you take higher risk doing it with a person, you can get higher outcome. And that is our case with Inters Būsulis. And thanks to Inters and Inters management, we have done great things. So those things you have to take into consideration are that auditory that comes with the brand. In this case, Inters auditory, it's amazingly huge, from small kids who watch TV to seniors who are singing along to Man rīt kafija and everything in between.
Yeah, and also across the whole Latvia, it's not only urban.
Yeah. And even more, it was a bit more meaningful and actual at that moment. Now not that much after Russia invaded Ukraine, but Inters is amazing brand for both auditories, the Latvian-speaking and Russian-speaking ones, living in this region in the country. So that was no-brainer from the point of view of auditory. That is one thing. Other thing is possible risks. If you're collaborating with, for example, athlete, I have had really much of experience. If somebody wants to discuss this matter, we can have a chat. But there you have high risks. One day you have great results. The next day the result may be not that great, and there are even risks of physical traumas, etc. Sometimes when an athlete steps into arena of public relations or even politics, sometimes there are lots of drawbacks you have to be aware of. So you have to take the risks. And in the case of Inters, he was building his brand, his music, his person on stage for early 2000s, I guess. And none of that was ringing the bells of any risks.
So no red flags there.
Yeah, that's correct.
And also, I think his personality, he's a doer himself as well. He has this kind of hustler energy, which also goes well hand in hand.
And that's the last point. You took the words out of my mouth. It's how that brand you want to collaborate with goes along with your brand.
Yeah.
So, and then VIRŠI, with VIRŠI, like Inters, he's a local regional guy from Ģibuli. Talsu pagasts, right?
Yep.
Talsu region, that's a city in Latvia, right? So, and VIRŠI is a local regional company from Aizkraukle. There are also local regional guys who built that company, so it's quite the same. And he's proud of it, and we're proud of it. He's the doer, as you said. He's really hard worker. If you see his action on stage, it's like you just understand he has worked hard for all his life to get to that point of level he's performing. And I'd say for VIRŠI the same. We have worked hard for many years to get where we are. And that's also one of the reasons why we have translated this our character of ours into the character of brand, the doers, the company for doers, those who are willing to do. So those are the things you have to consider, and also practical considerations. In our case, we knew that we are switching our media buying strategy from TV, that is classical TV, that we saw that we won't be buying much of TV in the future, and we will switch large part of our media budget to radio, which is a great channel for our auditory.
Yep. Driving in the cars.
Correct. Singing along in the car. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Getting hungry in the car. Correct. And so on. And we were looking for a voice which is recognizable, which doesn't have to say, "Hey, this is Inters Busuls. I offer you this and that." No.
Yeah.
So if he starts to talk vocally, you hear who is that person. So we switched our paths. Now we get to the jingle, to the audio logo or audio, I don't know, tagline. And when we sat around the table with Inters for the first time, an agency, we told him that yes, we have this. We had that kind of a little jolly melody in the end of all our TV clips at that moment. And I mentioned, it's this kind of a audio logo of ours. And yes, maybe you're a musician. If you have some ideas, maybe we can come up with something greater. There wasn't like major idea that, we have to build audio logo with Inters vocal. No, there wasn't that. It wasn't that case. He heard that jingle. He said, well, I think we can do better. So we came across this discussion with Inters, and the agency also helped. They got in the circle Arnis Račinskis. You can call him also a maestro or Raimons Pauls of advertising jingles in Latvia. Great guy, great composer of short melodies as well, which came this VIRŠI-A turpinām darīt. And Inters got in the studio. He sang this. He made this first version of which we call power vocal version, where he sings with full throttle version of it, and all the harmony back vocals. It's also done by Inters. But we have many more versions. Actually, we have like a child's version. We have melodical versions which we are using in stations, so this powerful version doesn't get too annoying. And then we have a cappella versions, which we are using sometimes in presentations, before, after presentation, or in our events as the bells before that you have to come to the seat. So we are integrating it in many different ways.
So it lives in whole other areas as well.
Yeah, that's
really
correct.
cool.
That's correct, yeah. It lives in our own radio. We have our inner radio. We don't have like some of the stations. We have our own VIRŠI radio provided by radio SVH, but with our own playlists and our own ads.
What I love about hearing the story about the Inters and the jingle is both of these things are very, very carefully thought out. Like, you do not leave anything to chance. Do I hear this correctly?
Well, from this point, it doesn't seem like that. It seems that we were just working hard.
Yeah.
We are those who are willing to do.
Very on brand.
Yeah, that is the case. You can't always think through all the details strategically. Even today, we were thinking about some concepts with the team. And then one of the things I mentioned that, yes, I know we have just 3 weeks now on a large concept to work on, but sometimes it happens really nicely if you have just 3 weeks. Sometimes you have 3 months and lots of budget, and that's what you come up with. It's not that powerful. So it's, yes, we work hard on that, but it's not that like strategically thought through.
Sometimes everything just falls in place.
Yeah, and you learn, you fail, and you do better afterwards.
Yeah, and we touched on this collaboration with Inters Busuls, and also if you go to your social media accounts, you see a lot of different brands appearing on your communication. I think one of the last things I saw was the collaboration with Telco LMT. I'm guessing this also is a kind of mindful approach, and not the one I would consider Latvians do a lot from the brand perspective. Could you tell more about on your stance on collaborations?
I will. I just wanted to drop one more story about Inters.
Yes, please do.
When we planned to start collaboration, we didn't know that it will be Inters. We were having some collaborations at that point. We were having some personalities who were approaching VIRŠI-A and asking for a collaboration, which was all right. But what we did, we made a poll to all the stations across Latvia, asking question, what are the famous personalities, any personalities, I don't know, political, musical, culture, that are coming in your stations? And there were like lots of those persons, of course, but only one stood out with how many stations he has visited. And Inters was visiting, I don't know, like 30% of stations, most likely connected with the concerts,
Touring,
the gigs,
yeah.
and touring across the country. And yes, other was that he was very already comments about that he was joyful. He was chatting with our employees, and he was saying good things. So we contacted his management, and the answer was, yeah, VIRŠI has really great coffee. We could have a chat about that. So we made this kind of a approach to stations before we approached Inters.
That's also very cool that you use your own resources to build these decisions. And also, I'm guessing then those who answer these surveys, they are also very happy when they see the actual thing coming to life.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And now when Inters is sometimes joking around this matter, he has employee card, of course, and he gets the discounts and goods as employees. And sometimes when he's in station, he jokes around that, yes, I'm working very hard at VIRŠI. I'm working at every fuel pump, as you hear, like sweating in this place. And so I'm really, that discount I get for coffee, that's really something I have to get.
Oh, it sounds like you have loads of good stories about your brand ambassador. But coming back to the collaborations with other brands, can you comment on that, how you approach collabs?
Sometimes that happens when something great comes in your way, and sometimes it comes strategically. That case with LMT Telco, yes, that was something we were planning, and we are looking also in the future to cross our path with great brands in Latvia who are willing to work with VIRŠI. We see that we are also become a great brand with great auditory, with a great name and everything that comes along, and that it's all right for us to cross our path with also great brands. In this case, it's good for both parties because we are exchanging our inner communication channels. In our case, that is network station. In LMT's case, those are client centers, etc. And databases as well, communicating our products. And in this case, we have collab with the internet and electricity. So it's like quite, you have to be aware that if you don't have electricity, you don't have internet.
Yep.
So it goes good together as coffee and something sweet. And we have other collaborations. One really interesting is this summer we have begun collaboration with TV series Nalūk TV, which is quite popular in Latvia. And there is a story behind this one, that these series, they are being produced in the city of Kandava, small city, but nice and historic city in Latvia. And in the very heart of that city, there stands nice and really cozy VIRŠI station. So it provides anything you can imagine that's necessary for a production team, the coffee, the food, the fuel, anything.
Yeah.
And they were approaching us for many times, actually, that, hey, we have this great TV series concept, and are you willing to join? And we were not willing at first, but they have grown, and that content and series are really great, and auditory is growing. So really great. And that's why we started this collaboration. And so it wouldn't be that dry. We mixed together our burgers with their personalities, and now we have this perfect match. And when we can play around that, and it's not that so that communication doesn't come out that dry.
I imagine also a good thing for that is that you have variety of things. It's not like you have only one product and then you need to think about all the ways how you can integrate that with other services or brands or anything else. Because in one case it's internet, in other case it's TV series, and in one case it's electricity, and in another burger. So that also gives you quite a freedom, right?
Yes, that's not a financial product. Like that's something completely different. You can work with it. It's interesting. It's creative, and as we always remind to ourselves in marketing team, that is like a sword with two blades.
Yeah.
One cuts on our behalf. That it's really easy to build communication around it. Other is that you have to communicate all those things. You have to have budget, and that. Reality check is that we're not some foreign company with our large mother in, I don't know, in different continent and large budgets and concepts. We are building everything here in Latvia. And so it's really complicated sometimes to plan the budget and to set the priorities, which are those products we have to communicate.
But you are now very prominent and visible on TikTok. And as I see it from, once again, viewers' point of view, the communication on TikTok differs, and you have also sort of collaboration or ambassador there, Mārtiņš Eihmanis. And as I see it, but correct me if I'm wrong, you let him do his thing. And I think that translates very good. So can you tell more about your approach to TikTok and how you choose to go that way?
Yes, we let him do his thing. Mārtiņš Eihmanis do Mārtiņš Eihmanis thing, which he does really well, and thanks him for that. But it was also a new territory for us. We let him do it under VIRŠI guidelines. And there was part of working and acknowledging it, that it has to be that way. And that also Mārtiņš has to understand that there is part Mārtiņš Eihmanis and there is part we call him Guy from VIRŠI. Yeah, Jeks no VIRŠiem, which is his alter ego when he steps in the territory of VIRŠI. And if he works out under alter ego of Jeks no VIRŠiem, he has some guidelines. Those are the guidelines of the brand, the characteristics of the brand. And those, again, goes together really well with Mārtiņš Eihmanis' characteristics, as it is with Inters Būsols. So that's a great match. But how we started this communication was that in the July of last year, it's high season for retail, because you need lots of working hands, and you have shortness on the side of staff of stations. And so we had discussions, or inner discussions, that, hey, our competitors are doing this and that. They have this famous, influencer behind the cash desk showing that they're, making burgers and talking about how easy it is. And there were several brands, our competitors and others. And we were looking for a way how to do kind of a similar thing, but that it wouldn't be the same. And we were struggling to find it. We were talking with all of our agencies. They also kind of struggled to come up with this concept. But one of the agencies, and they got this insight that, hey, your employees, they're like emulators. There was this TV series long ago called Emulator.
Yep.
The super smart guy, genius, who can learn any craft in a matter of hours or days. If he wants to become a car mechanic, it takes him hours to read through books. If he wants to become neurosurgeon, maybe a few days.
Yeah.
And he's an emulator. In each of the series, he was in a different craft. So our employees are also kind of emulators, because the range of the tasks they have to do in the station is very wide. And that was the concept that, hey, this is just a guy from VIRŠI, but he can do anything. Like he can help to the people who is feeling sick, a person who is feeling sick. He can make great food. He can talk in a talk show. He can do anything, and that was that kickoff point for the concept. And we didn't plan that it will go this far and this well, in the meaning that every series actually contains info about our inner relations, our inner culture. You can see that. Because of the jokes, because of the environment, because of that those persons you clearly see, those are not actors, those are like your employees, but they're willing to cooperate, and even more, they're enjoying it, and you can see it through the lens of the camera, right? And on the other hand, we are managing to integrate some sort of product information in each of these series. For example, the series which was meant for collaboration with Nelūgtie viesi, they had Mārtiņš wrote special script for this case, and they are doing some spy games in the station and using artificial intelligence to understand what kind of burger the colleague is eating and so on. And this is a great platform to talk about our employer's brand. And in a TikTok, answering to your question, it goes along with like everyday posts that we are having. We're having them also on Instagram and Facebook, but we have this backbone of our inner TV series of a guy from VIRŠI, which is not just in TikTok. It's also in Instagram and Facebook as well. Yeah, and it works fine.
Yeah. I guess for me, it's more prominent on TikTok.
Yeah.
Most probably the algorithms. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we touched on employees. You have them in your TikToks, and on the website it says that you have more than 850 employees. That's quite a lot. And I'm guessing this also demands employee branding. And what are your challenges that you encounter in this field?
Somehow I touched this question in the previous question with employer branding, building all that guy from the VIRŠI TV series. But great employer branding comes within the company. You have to begin there, and that's what VIRŠI have been doing for a long time and all the time, and we are aware of it, and we were aware of it even before the concept employer branding got popular. But of course, like this Latvian saying that Riga will never be ready, that is a field you can work on all the time, and we are working on it. So we are building our wellness of our employees all the time, and I believe that that is one of the best ways how to get your company's name outside of company's borders. Because everybody knows anybody or somebody in Latvia. It's a small country, and if you're willing to consider a position in this company, you will get somebody that will get you some kind of facts about experience in the company. That is one part. And other is public appearance, which the TV series guy from VIRŠI does amazingly. Now, even when I'm entering interviews with my maybe next future colleagues in my team, that is what I hear. That, hey, you have amazing culture, and you hear in between lines that that comes from that content. That comes from that content. It comes also from all the communication parts in the station. When you enter the station, you hear the humor, you hear the jingle, you see employees, and somehow it all ties together. Yeah, and it's not only about how you look on the job description on LinkedIn, on any other platforms. That's the last technical point. Yeah. And one more thing. Quite recently, actually, you expanded to Lithuania. How did you approach this, entering a new market? We just built a station there. That was the
basically,
way.
That's it.
Yeah. And from a marketing point of view, of course, we had to translate everything we have to Lithuanian.
Yeah.
And all the processes and procedures and everything. That wasn't an easy task. VIRŠI team is a great team, so we managed it. But from point of view of marketing, we're not tackling this topic like that much, actually, because that's a demo station, like pilot station. We're still monitoring the auditory, how they are seeing VIRŠI brand, VIRŠI products. And we will see in the future to talk about some sort of communication tackles. We have to open a few more stations at least.
Yeah, that's too soon.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have a lot of do. And how do you divide work between what you do in-house and what you give to the agency?
We have classical setup of agencies. We have like our strategic creative and media agency, social media agency, communication agencies. Thank you for all the partners, for all the hard work and great results. But We are actually marketing and communication department in the company. So we have two parts in the team. One is media relations, and in our inner communication, which is done by our team, and other is more of an advertising part. So advertising part, yes, we are looking forward. Maybe we will try to build our content of social media in-house. We'll see how that works out. But otherwise, we work with the helping hands and heads.
Yeah, and finding the best fit for the specific task, I'm guessing.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay, I think we have covered most of the things about VIRŠI-A. I'm sure there's a lot of talk about it, and we just touched the tip of it. But unfortunately, we have time constraints as well. And for the second part, we have these questions that we ask all our guests, and we are about to make a library of opinions and suggestions and everything in between. So here you will have some questions that we ask a lot of our guests. We have looked a lot at VIRŠI brand. What are other brands that you admire?
I admire brands, I guess brands with a story. For example, I've always loved Adidas. Nike is a great brand. I even heard all that 4.5-hour podcast I'd acquired about Nike and Phil Knight's amazing book and everything. But still, I like Adidas. And most likely I like Adidas because of that street culture, music culture, hip-hop, everything that goes along, fashion as well. It just mixes really well together, and it builds that story, what you can do with that brand if you are kind of a doer, the one who's willing to do, how that brand can fit in your life. And that Nike is more about victory, and Adidas is more about that content and process.
Yeah.
So that's how I approach it. And the same I could say about, for example, great brand, amazing brand, always loved it, Diesel.
Yeah.
Just, you can't not like this brand. And that way how it just rebels against anything and everything. And their tagline, which is funny, for successful living. You can put that tagline, I don't know, to the family car Toyota or Walmart or something like that, like for successful living, that it's so edgy to that Diesel character that it's just like laughing about all you need for successful living is, I don't know, string underpants, anything they're communicating. So great brand. And one more brand is also with a great story behind it, Latvian brand, local brand, Modern Nomad, who are selling hammocks and adventure lifestyle, different kind of accessories built in Latvia and done in Latvia. But they have built this their adventure lifestyle brand and story behind the brand so powerfully that they were recognized by Dior.
Yeah.
Yes, and they got this amazing collaboration. And why Dior chose them? Because they had this background story with real Latvian rangers who you can meet them in life, in person. They're really going in the woods and using those hammocks in real life. It's not just some product.
Yep. And I also love the fact that when Modern Nomad got the email from Dior, they almost dismissed it because they didn't think it could be true.
Like Persian prince or something.
Yeah. Nigerian prince, send me money.
Yeah, that's great.
It's such good brands, and I also admire them a lot, and I'm always Adidas over Nike. I see that not for you and nor for VIRŠI, humor is a stranger. How you see this importance of humor in brand communication?
It's easy for me. It always has been easy for me to describe brands as personalities. So it's not that technical. You can feel them more in that way. And if you're, for example, talking about a person who will be super hilarious all the time, any time of day you meet him, he'll be like super hilarious, like throwing out jokes. It will be super funny at first, right? Like, this great person, he makes me laugh all the time. And sometime it will get a bit weird. Like something's not correct with him. There is something wrong with him. And the same with the brands. So you have to have a correct amount of humor, correct places, and correct tonality, if there is such a word in English. In Latvian there is. So that's the way how we're approaching brand at the VIRŠI case. We know who we are. When I entered the company, the first job meeting, there were also stakeholders, the founders at the table, listening to my story, and I told them something about some campaign I have had experience before, and they all started to laugh, and it was like, all right, these guys like jokes. They like to joke about each other, about VIRŠI. And that's also one of the reasons, I guess, why VIRŠI brand is what it is, because we're laughing a lot inside. Sometimes, like in Tuesdays, we have a management meeting, and I just mentioned sometimes this example. We're meeting, and our CEO, Jānis Vība, he has white shirt, like proper white shirt. And like it takes just 15, 30 seconds, the first sparkles of humor to go around the room that, what's the reason why Jānis is wearing white shirt today? Where he's going? Who he's meeting, like, and next 3 to 5 minutes, we're just like joking around this fact. And it's the best environment where you can have a joke. Each one can have a joke about the other. And so if that translates also to the brand's communication, that is a great case.
Also a great way how to bring down some walls and barriers and be more accessible.
Yeah, but not to be too funny, then it gets weird.
For the sake of it. You don't want to be the creepy brand.
That's right.
And to do the job you do, you need quite a lot of inspiration. Where do you get it? From podcasts, books, travels? You already mentioned Acquired, which is a great podcast that I also encourage everyone to listen. What else?
Who has 4 hours or 12 hours in Elon Musk's case. Who's a scary person, really. But inspiration, podcasts, books, not that much. It just don't have time. My kids are great inspiration. You just see them, you see yourself in them. You remember yourself in those cases when you were growing up, what you were doing, what you were experiencing, and it just helps you build that feeling and information you can use when you're working with a brand in communication perspective. Music. I always loved music. Music is great inspiration. It just can sparkle lots of ideas. Sports. I come from skateboarding background, and till this day I don't skateboard that much, but I really follow all the skateboarding activities, and you see all that new things that are coming up there, and that's a great resource. As we know, you have to have these resources from advertising to build advertising.
Yeah, exactly. And now let's end on high. What's your moonshot goal? What is the ultimate success? What does the ultimate success for you look like?
Okay, ultimate success, moonshot.
Yeah.
I didn't know
that crazy
word. Like when you're shooting to the moon?
Yeah.
Like Elon Musk does?
Now he's going for the one of the co-departments from Efficiency Bureau in US. Trump has devoted him in that position.
Yeah. And why is that?
Shocker.
Yeah, but okay. I hope it doesn't sound cheesy, but because I don't mean it to be. Harmony. You have to have harmony in life, not just that worn out work-life balance term, but harmony with yourself, with your family, with your work, with the result. What do you get out of it? And that's my moonshot goal. To get on that wave of harmony and ride it. It's not that something you can aim for after years. No, it's just something you like surfing or like skateboarding. You just getting out of it. You have to come back on it. And that's the most valuable thing for me.
Yeah. No, thank you. And on this beautiful note, I'm happy to end the conversation. Thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you for the conversation.
Yeah. Bye. So, here you go. A great sneak peek into how VIRŠI works as a brand. I hope you found some grain of thought valuable for you. I want to also thank Studio Play for providing the studio and audio setup for this podcast to happen. And just a quick reminder, if you also have any audio or video needs, get in touch with Studio Play. That's it from me. Let us know what you want more from the Baltic Brand Talks podcast in the comment section, wherever you listen to the podcast. As always, we appreciate everyone who listens. Thank you. Until the next episode. Bye.